Hello, Starmadians. I am Orfaniel, head admin over here at Ragnarok Galaxy. If you have not done so yet, you should watch the video on the story so far. Let us now look at the concepts and rules of Ragnarok. First of all, let us have a look at what we call Iron Rules. These are rules to be followed at all times. Rule number 1. Know the difference between a bannable server rule and enforceable galactic laws. The Federation has rules. These should be followed if you wish to avoid being persecuted by police and military fleets. Breaking them is in no way against the server rules. Breaking a server rule will see you more directly punished, however. The difference here is important. The Federation's laws have less pull in rim space and no effect at all in the Reaver sectors. Rule number 2. The admins are the final arbiters of all disagreements out of character. This one is quite self-explanatory. Admins have a final say in all things, including, yes, such disagreements. Rule number 3. The collective leaders are the final arbiters of all disagreements in character. If there is a disagreement in character, the Federation Council or other leaders might step in. Not much out of the ordinary here. Rule number 4. Be decent. Excessive swearing, displays of OOC prejudice, and general indecent behavior are prohibited. This is a big one. Your character might be a potty mouth, but there are ways to display this without dropping the F-bomb all the time. We have young people who play, and even if they can be the rudest of them all, it is up to the rest of us to set a good example in all things. This is a very far-reaching and important rule. Rule number 5. Unless you have an IC reason, all PvP combat must be in the Reaver sectors. With an IC reason, you can still expect to come under penalties enforced legitimately. Basically, this means you need to have a good reason to fight against people. Such reasons are not exactly hard to come by, really. Reaver sectors, of course, have no such laws. Being there is reason enough to fight. Rule numero 6. Your factory lags the server. You will be asked to reduce it. If it crashes the server, the structure or planet it is on will be deleted and forfeit. Factories of excessive size can have a detrimental effect on the server. With the more recent boosts in StarMade's code, this is not the issue it once was. You can easily make a factory that can supply you infinitely, without breaking the game. Rule number 7. The use of alt accounts for espionage, sabotage, theft, and other related things is prohibited. This is a slippery slope that will lead new players to be even more heavily distrusted than they already are. This one is rather self-explanatory. Do not use alt accounts for nefarious purposes such as stealing or spying. Having alternate accounts is fine, as many of our players do so in order to cater to different moods or playstyles. If you are caught breaking this rule, I will personally take great pleasure to ban the ever-loving crap out of you. So those are pretty simple and self-explanatory, but there are lots of things that do not fall under the purview of rules, but are still very, very important. Things like our rules on ships, the catalogue, and roleplay. Let us look at ships. Ships should look good, science fiction sort of way. One does not have to be a master architect, but any bland cubes, spheres, or stupid ships will be removed. There is also the matter of ship classes and their restrictions. Capital ships, that is to say, dreadnoughts and titans, are restricted. To represent the immense support network required to utilize such ships, a faction can field a dreadnought with 5 members, or a titan with 10. If you have 15 members, for example, you can field 1 of each, or 3 dreadnoughts. There are some exceptions to this rule, mostly extending to the Federation, and, at the time of writing, the Jovian Imperium. These are factions run by administrators for story purposes. Capital ships also need to be registered on the forum and given a designation to make them easy to track. This means admins will ensure a given capital ship looks sufficiently good both inside and out, and make sure that the faction wielding it does not exceed their limits, and that they know how to handle their investment. Closely related to ships is the catalogue. A lot of people are aghast to find that Ragnarok does not allow ships to be uploaded to the catalogue, or even to be saved once they are built. We often get questions. What is this madness? Why can we not save our ships? Why do we do this seemingly cruel thing? Well, there are a number of reasons. Most notably, it prevents ship spam. Each vessel built is precious in itself, more than just the credits value. It encourages the careful retrieval of damaged warships, and more than just a throw ships at your enemy approach. It was one of the founding values of the server. As you probably know, StarMade's economy is horribly unbalanced. Until this is redressed, the catalogue will probably remain closed for the most part. But fear not, for there are ways to save your ships. Most obviously, and a little self-servingly, you can donate to the server. One of the benefits is your very own privately personal catalogue slot that you can do with what you will. Unfortunately, due to the fact that we cannot individually assign catalogue slots, an admin will have to manage the slot for you, but this should be no great impediment. Most importantly, we strongly advise you to save your ships to your local catalogue. This will not put them on the server, but it will save them to your computer. If something unforeseeable and untoward happens, you might be able to retrieve your ship from a local backup, and it's always nice to have it saved for your own use. But, most importantly, there is the faction catalogue. Factions have available to them a limited number of catalogue of ships to call upon. Given that they meet certain requirements, this is to encourage people to play together, as opposed to the ocean of small factions that would otherwise exist. Again, an administrator is needed to upload the ship in question to the faction catalogue. Ownership of the entry will then be changed to the faction leader, and be set as available to that faction. Please try to limit any unnecessary editing of your faction catalogue. The admins have the right to refuse to upload a ship. They might not have the time or the will to do so, since uploading takes some tracking back-end work for us too. If you think you might be bothering the admins too much with the requests and updates, you probably are. The slots available are limited as follows. For every 3 members a faction has, it can get 1 light slot. That is to say, a fighter, a bomber, a corvette, or a frigate. That is up to 750 mass. For every 5 members a faction has, it gets 1 medium slot, an escort destroyer or a destroyer, up to 5,000 mass. For every 10 members a faction has, it gets a heavy slot, a cruiser or a battle cruiser, up to 15,500 mass. As an example, a faction with 7 members would have 2 light slots and 1 medium slot. A faction with 15 members would have 5 light slots, 3 medium slots, and 1 heavy slot. A faction with 42,381 members would be given 14,127 light slots, 8,476 medium slots, and 4,238 heavy slots. And now, here are some frequently asked questions about this feature. But Orfaniel, what if I want to remove or replace one of my ships? An administrator will not remove a ship for you. That is up to the faction leader, under whose name the ships are listed. When the slot is free, an admin will fill it with ship as normal. Orfaniel, some of my members left. Do I lose the slots? Yes and no. As long as the ships remain unchanged, the slots will remain as they are. However, if you wish to make any changes to the slots, they will have to be reduced in number as needed. This is to give people a chance to do some recruiting first, rather than just arbitrarily amputating slots. Ha! I'm gonna do something dumb and exploit this system, such as making alter counts to beef up my numbers. The Orfaniel giveth, and so too does the Orfaniel taketh away. Any kind of exploitation or other dumbness will see your slots taken away. For a privilege, not a right. Can I have turrets in the slots? Sure, go nuts. Turrets are just ships with the core at the bottom and no engines, ultimately, as long as the restrictions are adhered to in regards to mass. And finally, for those not in the know, here is some bits about roleplay, or RP, as it is often abbreviated. RP is where one assumes the identity of a character that they have made up. In this case, a character in the sci-fi setting of Starmaid and Ragnarok. You make decisions not so much as yourself, but as this fictional individual. When you chat in the server, you do so as this character, not as yourself, unless otherwise obvious. Subjects like the World Cup, the latest TV shows, and your cute kitty cease to have any significance, and things like the Jovian War, the scarcity and abundance of certain materials, and the latest holovid broadcast of the Interfederation Foosball tournament are much more important. To some, this prospect can be scary and intimidating, but everyone is more than willing to help newcomers out and get used to roleplay. It might come more naturally than you think. You might have seen the terms IC and OOC used in this video and other bits of documentation. Hopefully, these were not too confusing before now. If you do not know what they mean, allow me to explain. IC means in character, and it refers to what your fictional character and things that occur to as part of the story. OOC means out of character, and refers to players themselves or things happening to the server outside of the confines of the story. When chatting on the server, or the chat built into the site, OOC is usually dictated by brackets of some kind, and is usually fairly obvious. It is really much easier than this all makes it seem. Just take care not to interrupt people talking ICly or RPing with OOC chatter and such. This server is, foremost, roleplay, after all. Finally, let me introduce you to some important names you might see around the place here. There is Lidrin, the owner of the server. He is the most important of all, of course, and he is a busy man. He is rarely seen. Do not bother him with your issues. Then there is Comrade Johan, also known as Orfanion or Rex. He is the head admin, and it is his voice that has been caressing your ears over the course of this video.
Sometimes his voice is like this.
If you have problems unsuitable for the other admins, he is the one to talk to. He runs the Jovian Imperium, which serves as the great enemy of all for the moment. And the time of writing, he is author of the most highly rated ship on Starmaid's site. Yay! And numerous others besides. Isn't he dreamy? The following is in no way in order of seniority. They are all equal at this point. Luna is the RP admin and player of the AI Omega, since Luna Hitachi, her previous character, exploded slightly. If you have any questions about roleplay, you can speak to her about it. You can also expect to be chastised by her should you decide to do anything that affects roleplay negatively, like interrupting it with OOC silliness, or engaging in roleplay that can be nothing but deliberately stupid or terrible. She has appointed Gato as her little assistant, though he is not really an administrator. Zeno is the admin in charge of events, mostly. He's also the one to whitelist people most often, a masterful shipwright in his own right, and he also plays the character Sinasio, who effectively runs the Federation at the time of writing. AMC-088 is an admin too. He helps with server events and keeping people in line. KD Warhammer is also an admin, and has been here far longer than me. He probably does some stuff. He knows more about the site and server backend than most. Londar is also an admin. He may or may not sometimes do things of an uncertain nature. He probably did things in the past and or future. So that's it. This video will probably be out of date by minutes after I post it, because that's what tends to happen to these things. But whatever, I'm doing my part. What did you do for us recently? Go join. There's a lot more detailed information on the site, should you dare to peruse its depths. Thankfully, this has made you more acquainted with the rules and stuff of Ragnarok Galaxy. And if you have not yet joined us, hopefully we will see you soon.
I surrender my soul. One day I'll sit beside your throne in Valhalla's great hall. Like so many before me, I'll die with honor and pride. The right of a warrior, forever to fight by your side. Send a sign, raise the sail, wave a last goodbye. Destiny is calling, immortality be mine. Call the wits to cast the ruins, weave a magic spell. We who die in battle are born, not for heaven, not for hell. We are sons of Odin. The fire we burn inside is the legacy